Hello, everyone, and welcome to a special COVID-19 edition of the Destination Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Adam Stoker. We weren't planning on doing a special episode this week, but with the heightened alerts and concerns in the travel industry, specifically with this pandemic that's spreading across the world, we wanted to make sure that we helped provide some guidance for any of our listeners that are looking for what should I do? There's a lot of information out there, and I just want to back it up for a second just to get started. Let's just back up. Anytime you are dealing with a crisis, and this is Crisis Management 101, okay? There are components of the crisis that you can control, and there are components of the crisis that you cannot control. And so I want to talk a little bit about just some of the harsh realities of COVID-19 and then what you have the ability to address. And that way, as the overwhelming fountain of information is coming at you, you can kind of sift through the stuff that matters and needs to be actioned upon by you and the things that it's good to know, but there's nothing you can do about it. Okay, so let's just talk about first, what can you not control? You, as a destination marketer, cannot control the fact that this virus is spreading across the world, right? So that's happening, and that's okay. Don't let the fact that you don't have any control over this specific portion of the situation affect you emotionally, mentally. Focus your efforts on what you can control. What you can control is how you position your destination and how you communicate with your target audience and let them know what they can expect from your destination if they are either considering a trip to your destination or they've had to change their travel plans as a result of this pandemic. And when you start to think about it that way, you realize that anytime there's a crisis, there's also opportunity buried within that. And it's very important to make sure that you don't focus on the negative and try to find the opportunity when something like this happens. Heaven knows the media has found the opportunity in this. There's some media outlets that may have saved their business with COVID-19 and the round-the-clock coverage, but it is critical that we be prepared and that we understand how to make sure our destination is affected as little as possible. So let's dive in. How do we do that? I think, first of all, it's really important to be informed. So we have spent a lot of time reviewing the information that's available. We'll start with the statement that was released by 150 different tourism businesses. A lot of them were destinations. A lot of them were supporting businesses. I saw ADARA and Arrivalist on there. And these businesses got together, these organizations got together and released a statement. And I want to read a portion of that here. And it says, for the travel and hospitality industry, the safety of the traveling public, our guests, and our employees is of the utmost importance. We are in daily contact with public health authorities and are acting on the most up-to-date information on the evolving coronavirus situation. Health and government officials have continually assured the public that healthy Americans can confidently travel in this country. While it's critically important to remain vigilant and take useful precautions in times like these, it's equally important to make calm, rational, and fact-based decisions. Though the headlines may be worrisome, experts continue to say the overall coronavirus risk in the U.S. remains low. At-risk groups are older individuals and those with underlying health conditions who should take extra precautions. The latest expert guidance indicates that for the overwhelming majority, it's okay to live, work, play, and travel in the U.S. And it goes on for a little bit, but I think the critical piece of information is that domestic travel, and I know we have some international listeners on the program, and unfortunately, I don't have maybe the most up-to-date information on your specific country. We're going to be focused a little bit on the United States today. But domestic travel within the United States, for all intents and purposes, is safe, according to this statement. And I think it's really important that that delineation is made between domestic travel and international travel. Another thing that's important to note is President Trump last night in an address to the nation uh, outlined a couple of new travel restrictions. And those restrictions, we already had restrictions on travel from China to the US. And last night, the restriction of anywhere in Europe, excluding the United Kingdom, was added to that travel restriction. So foreign nationals looking to come into the United States will no longer be allowed to come in. Citizens of the United States will have to go through proper screening to get into the country. And I think that's a precautionary measure that's important to slow down the spread of this virus. So good that they're doing that. Bad for a lot of our travel revenue, especially here in the United States, because, I was talking to one of my partners today that we work with, and that's 20 to 30% of their revenue is the European traveler. So that's a really important part of the audience that was headed here to the United States. So that's one piece of fact that came out. But the silver lining here, and there's been a couple of articles written about it, and we've talked a lot on our show. We've talked a lot about stakeholder engagement, and you've got your stakeholders that are within your community, right? This is your political partners, your business partners within the community, and then there's the residents and citizens of the community. And those are all stakeholders. But I would argue that outside of your, city borders, there's your regional stakeholders, and these are your drive markets. And with a lot of the programs that have been put in place by states that allow for cooperative efforts, where, for example, in the state of Utah, there's a dollar for dollar match, but you have to spend the money out of state because it goes towards bringing people from out of state into the state. And sometimes what happens when destinations are taking advantage of those programs is those regional stakeholders, which are your drive markets, have a tendency to get a little bit neglected. And so my major recommendation for destinations that may be concerned with the changes in travel revenue, and we're already seeing it, hotel bookings are down, airline bookings are down, we're already seeing the impact. So those that are seeing it, let's not sit back and worry and complain about the situation, because it is what it is. Let's use it as an opportunity to engage some of these regional stakeholders that we maybe haven't done a good enough job reaching out to over the last several years. And once again, looking back at that statement from the 150 businesses in the travel industry, that statement, by the way, that was posted by U.S. Travel and also Destinations International. So obviously, this is a joint effort to make sure that everybody understands where the major players in the industry stand. But going back to the fact that it is safe to travel domestically, what an opportunity to engage those stakeholders. And there's an article on the travel vertical that I was reading through today, and they actually have several quotes from some important people in the industry that I think you'll find interesting. Houston's mayor, his name's Sylvester Turner, he said, "I'm going to ask you to stay local, staycations. Take advantage of the discounts the hotels in our region are providing, and then continue to live your lives and not be paralyzed by fear." The Points guy, who's a major influencer in the industry, says, "We're in favor of planning more domestic trips right now, and it might even be best to dust off that plan for a staycation or stay at a local luxury hotel you've been meaning to check out." See, a lot of these travelers who were going to go international, they were going to spend a whole lot of money. So can we leverage that spend and get them to spend that money within our destination, especially if we have a luxury hotel that would maybe compete with a possible experience overseas? And then another one from the New Zealand Herald for my New Zealand listeners here. "As fears of coronavirus stymie international tourism, New Zealanders are being urged to take a staycation to support our own industry." And then Nick Wyatt, head of R&A and travel and tourism at Global Data, He's out of London. He says people are beginning to question whether they should travel abroad, with many canceling or rearranging their summer holiday plans. However, one potential winner out of this could be staycations. Now, let's all go back to 2009. If you were in the travel industry, we had just gotten through the global recession that definitely hit the United States really hard. And there was very little disposable income to do a big extensive vacation like over the last 10 years people have become accustomed to taking. And so staycations became incredibly popular. And really, I bet 90% of us listening during those few years after the recession took staycations. I read a quote, and of course, I can't remember who it was that said it, but they said, travel is good for the soul. I don't think travel's going to stop. In fact, I think that the people that were planning international trips are going to be looking for a new place to take their trip because you need to get away. You need to get out of the office. You need to get the leisure travel that helps you recharge. And so let's focus on our drive markets and try to get some of these people that maybe because of the crowds, if we're in a major destination, haven't been willing to attend our destination. But now with the messaging of, hey, avoid the international crowds that tend to cause a lot of busyness in a destination. Well, that's not happening. So come enjoy the park in a way that you couldn't have last year. Or come enjoy the destination in a way you couldn't have last year, and capitalize on the fact that for these regional stakeholders that may have kind of lost their top of mind interest in your destination, let's recapture that and let's help them create traditions to come stay within our destination. I want to also talk about the fact that when you advertise to a long distance traveler, so let's say I'm Hilton Head, South Carolina, and I'm advertising to people in New York to come get away in South Carolina. The chances of them, just from a logistical standpoint, the ability for that traveler to return multiple times to your destination goes down because it's not a convenient trip. However, these drive markets that are near you, you have the ability to create what I like to call tradition sculpting, where you can help these people create traditions of coming to your destination year after year after year. And if you do your homework now, your foundational audience, your most loyal audience, your stakeholders that are in your local and regional markets, you can help them create traditions that will cause that foundation to continue even after long distance and international travel comes back. So a major recommendation for me, and I think at this point I've probably beat a dead horse, right? But focus on staycations. Let's get your local and regional stakeholders into your destination again and get them to have the type of experience that makes them want to return over and over and over again. I touched on this earlier too, but there is so much, or will be so much, pent up demand for your or for travel because of the issues that have come up as a result of the coronavirus. There are a lot of people who are really disappointed because they had a wonderful trip booked and they won't be able to go. This will cause a lot of people to not be sure what to do with that, but know that they want to get away. This is the time to build things like your email database and send out content to potential visitors and nurture those people so that when the disposable income comes back, when the opportunity to travel either long distance or internationally comes back, you are the destination that is top of mind for them. Once again, you can't control the fact that this is going to hurt your destination. The coronavirus is affecting travel worldwide, but there are little opportunities that you can seize to make sure that it's not causing more problems than it would if you just let it go. Let's focus on the positive and focus our efforts on getting these travelers that are likely to travel locally to our destination, or build your foundation, build your email list, build your content, build your assets so that when travel heats up again, you're prepared to take advantage of that. Here's the other thing. You may not have as much advertising budget after, with all that's happening and the results of this virus spreading. So let's make sure that you're taking any budget that gets diverted from your advertising spend and enhance your customer experience. You have the opportunity to have more focused attention on the customer experience now than you ever have before, because of some of the pullbacks that are going to happen as a result of the spread of the coronavirus. So focus on enhancing your customer experience. Give your customer service training. I remember Kim Sidoriak from Santa Monica. We released that episode a couple of weeks ago. She has a customer service training that will help train all of your local stakeholders. And we posted that in the Destination Marketers LinkedIn group. Take advantage of some of those programs. Train your people. Help them provide a better customer experience so that the people that are coming during this difficult time will come back, and that people who could come in the future will have a better experience, resulting in more of the most valuable advertising asset, which is word of mouth. Another thing that I want to touch on is that when travel slows down in a destination, one of the most important things to remember is the small businesses within your destination that rely on your visitorship. And I think it's so critical as destination managers. And, Bill Geist, when he came on, he didn't say your destination marketing organizations. He said, we're destination management organizations. And one of your responsibilities in destination marketing and management is to take care of the businesses who take care of your customers. So now, how can you help those businesses to succeed with the travelers that are still coming? What can you do to support those businesses? I know that one of the things that's really difficult is the political implications that come up when, some businesses get special treatment and some don't. But the reality is there are certain businesses within your destination that are critical to your visitor experience. And if you let those businesses fail without receiving support from you, once travel speeds back up again and international travel picks back up, you're not going to be able to provide the same customer experience that created the brand that allows you to have so much success. So if that means featuring some of your local businesses who you've never featured before in ads, do it. If that means that you need to maybe help fund an ad that they need to run and it makes sense and it's a responsible thing to do it. The customer experience is critical, and this is your opportunity to make sure that the customer experience withstands the effects of the coronavirus. And then one other thing that I wanted to make sure that I talked about is you have the opportunity to ensure the safety of as many people as possible that come to your destination. We need to be doing some logistical planning, like more sanitizing stations within the destination. If there's a museum, there should be sanitizing stations on the way in, throughout the museum, and on the way out. If you're a national park, let's put multiple sanitizing stations throughout the national park. I know that your park directors or superintendents are going to freak out when they hear that, because it ruins the natural state of the park. But the reality is we have to keep people safe if we want them to come to our destination. And if people are looking for an alternative to international travel, they still want to be safe. So show that you are taking the necessary precautions to make sure that your travelers are safe within your destination. And I just want to reiterate, guys, while this is definitely providing a difficult hit to the tourism industry, those that are responsible and proactive during this process will definitely prosper regardless of the effects of this virus. So make sure that remember, you can't control the negative. But what you can control is the positive things that you do and how your destination responds to a crisis like this. Proactive responders get ahead. And I hope everybody is able to stay positive and continue to provide the necessary components for your stakeholders, your visitors, and your destination. Have a great day, everybody, and we'll have another episode coming out soon.